Yo guys, what's going down? It's MC Noble here. Welcome back to another little stream. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a gig update, and I know you guys are probably thinking like, this is crazy, like what gig updates would you actually have to give during the time circumstances that we're actually in. But I want to kind of make this video to sort of just explain everything, so like gigs that are postponed, gigs that are cancelled, kind of thing, just to sort of ease off the confusingness off of people, so people know exactly what is still down in a diary with a date to be announced, and what is like absolutely 100% like just finished and probably won't happen again, and stuff like that. So first off, originally I had a big gig called Keeping It Core. It was set to take place down in Longbridge in Birmingham. Had a hotel booked, had travel booked, everything like that. The pub closed, I believe, about 2 days before the event was actually supposed to take place, and the guy who was running the event just said it gave him too much of a headache, and he didn't see or feel like he wanted to reschedule the event, if that makes sense. So he kind of just decided that, you know, enough was enough. It was too much headache for him, making all these you know, lineups and planning, and when DJs back out, and when DJs decide that they don't want to play or they can't make it, or for whatever reason, it can be very headachy, can be stressful trying to get another DJ in place. So I think he just sort of scrapped the whole Keeping It Core. So whether it does actually come back or not, I'm not entirely sure, and whether I would be on the lineup or not is just you know, a whole another world. Next up we have Alliance The Resurrection, which actually is set to come back as soon as we get the go ahead, as soon as we're allowed to go back into entertainment complexes. There will be a new date for the Alliance. The name has changed, I can't remember what it was for, but it changed to a brand new name, and the lineup might just be slightly different, but it's still, as far as I'm aware at the moment, and as far as we've been talking, that it is going to come back, and it is going to actually have some form of you know, new event, new day. Obviously, like I said, the lineup will slightly change, but whenever we're allowed to go back in, you know, whether that's in a couple of months, whether it's in a, you know, a lot longer, there's going to be a date there for us, providing the venue obviously survives and keeps open. So at the moment, the Alliance is still going ahead. I'm still booked for the gig. I will still be doing the gig once we're allowed to obviously go back into entertainment complexes, and obviously, like I say, it's just a case on whether the pub actually stays open, you know, whether it can actually survive through what we're actually going through. It's not the biggest venue, you know, it doesn't do bad for getting people in, but obviously in the moment and the times that we're in will have a massive effect on it, with it not being able to open and make money, and obviously get punters through the door to drink ale and listen to music, which is obviously a big part of what the venue is obviously about. So next up, I actually had a birthday party, which was obviously not going to happen now. It was booked for the end of April. It was a birthday party for a guy called Dave, and obviously due to circumstances, the birthday party was no longer going ahead. So whether I'm booked again next year for the person's following year's birthday, I haven't got a clue, but this was a 30th birthday, so I highly doubt they're going to do something like they had planned for the 30th for a 31st birthday, unless they plan for a late birthday when we are allowed to go back into entertainment complexes, maybe they have just a bit of a celebration. Maybe they still decide to get me to do some music or something. I've got no actual clue, and stuff like that. And then next up, towards I believe the beginning of May, which would be round about this time now, maybe it would have been next weekend, maybe this weekend that we're just in at the moment, I was actually booked to MC a charity boxing match. I was supposed to MC for a guy's entrance, and I was possibly doing a few songs in the sort of like half time in the middle of the ring. And literally, that obviously won't be going down anymore now. Whether there's another charity boxing event that the guy wants to book me for after the lockdown is obviously lifted, and once boxing matches will obviously resume, etc. That is just one thing that I'm not really sure. Like, is it likely? Possibly not. I mean, there's a lot of things to obviously think about, rather than just getting somebody for an entrance. Like, I'm sure the guy will just be pleased to be able to get back out in the ring and do what he does, and maybe whatever was going to happen for the charity maybe won't happen now. So I haven't actually got a clue as to what's going to happen as far as the boxing match goes. And finally, last but not least, I did have another date with the Stomping Crew. I wasn't completely sure of the date. I had a sort of suspicion that it was going to be May. I thought May was going to be the possible date, because I knew it wasn't March and I knew it wasn't April, so May was kind of my sort of like, I guess if you like, May was kind of my date that I thought I was going to be back with the stomping, which would have been absolutely wicked, because that would have been exactly a year to the first time I ever got put on a stomping poster. I can remember the day I was sat in this very spot right now where I'm sat now, and Dave, the guy who runs Stomping, he asked if I was there, and he sent me a picture of the flyer. I looked at it and just instantly spotted my name straight away, and I nearly burst into tears, because that was one of the most happiest moments of my life, to get put on a flyer, to be officially booked for a gig, and it was just absolutely fantastic. I remember running downstairs and showing people that I'd actually been put on a poster, and so excited about printing some copies out to stick up on the wall in my shed, and just being so excited and showing friends. And I remember Dave said don't share anything until the post is out, and I was secretly messaging friends and saying like, I'm on this poster, literally I've been put on the Stomping poster, and like it was something so exciting, which it actually was. So if things that have obviously gone to normal and I had been booked to May again, it would have kind of been like my 1 year sort of like anniversary since my first ever booking, since my first ever gig, that I actually got officially put on a flyer and obviously got the chance to do what I do on the stage. However, going forward with Stomping are actually doing an amazing job, sort of like entertaining people over Facebook. They done a couple of lockdown live streams with different DJs going live on the Stomping Facebook page. The first time they did 12 hours, the second time they did 14 hours, and next weekend they're teaming up with another page called Harder Southwest, which is going to bring more DJs, and it's going to be spread across 2 different days. So I think all in all it's about 12 hours both days, and I think it starts about midday and they go through till about midnight or something like that, and there's all different DJs throughout the day. However, when the lockdown does eventually get, you know, fully lifted and we're allowed back in the pubs and clubs, etc., I'm sure Dave will be throwing one hell of a stomping bash, and I'm pretty certain going forward in the future Dave will have another date for me, whether that's into next year, whether that's into sort of like late this year. You know, it obviously depends when things get lifted. You know, obviously I can't tell you when that will happen. I personally think it will be a while yet, but you know, whenever it happens, Stomping will be there, probably announcing some form of an event in the coming weeks after the after the sort of pubs and all the clubs and sort of thing reopen. I'm sure Dave will be there, or Dave will probably have something in the pipeline. He'll probably have something already organised, I would imagine, and when they just, you know, lift, they'll just go with a date and then they'll start announcing things. But he'll probably have a good idea who he wants to book, what he wants to do, I would imagine. But I would say definitely going forward, like the date that I had with Stomping will just be moved to another date. One of the reasons why I got booked with Stomping again in January and why there was another date for me was because I attend all Stompings, and I've supported Stomping more or less from the beginning, and I MC. I come to every single Stomping, and the chances are like someone lets me have a go on the microphone anyway, so I end up MCing whether I'm on the flyer or not. And Dave just obviously may as well, for the sake of like one extra name, he may as well just put me on more flyers and officially have me down for doing it. Plus it gives me a memory of the events as well, to say, oh, I did that one, you know, I did a set at that one, and it's good, you know, it's kind of like practice as well in a way, you know, to get out there in, you know, like Stomping does well and it brings a good crowd in, but obviously like it's a nice little event to sort of like, in a way, like warm up and practice and, you know, get used to a crowd. It's not like getting booked somewhere like absolutely out of this world, like say The Ultimate Getaway, so you're not going on a massive stage in front of thousands of people, but there is still an audience there and it's still nerve-wracking, but it gives you that time to obviously get used to a crowd, and you know, like I say, it's a good practice point. And the thing about Stomping is, you know, everyone's always there to help you and support you. I remember when Dave first ever let me go on at Stomping, which was back in February last year, and Sniper was stood at the side of me, and he was just sort of like giving me some tips about going in time with you know, with another MC, because I'd never done that before. You know, I've always just MC'd to myself, never done B2B, so like knowing when that person's going to finish their rhyme for you to come in with your rhyme, it's just a completely different story. And like I say, it took quite a lot of sinking in, like, because, you know, like I had the energy, I was excited, I just wanted to roll out with it, but then I had to give chance for Freestyle to come in with his rhyme, and I didn't really know him back then. We were just kind of becoming sort of like pally, and we just started talking. And you know, just sort of in a way, I remember doing the set on the Sunday, on the Saturday, and then I actually remember on the Monday I had a message from Freestyle, and he said, listen, look, I want to help you, I want to train you, give you tips, and I want to help you become further. He must have obviously seen that I had the potential to actually do something quite well, which was absolutely crazy. And the even more crazy thing is back in 2016, I did go to a like a rave event. It was on a Sunday afternoon. It was it was quite different. It was like a Sunday school raving. I think that was about sort of like July time or something. So it was like right in the summer. It was a Sunday afternoon, and there was just some like outdoor music in the courtyard, and Freestyle actually happened to be on the mic. And I didn't really know him back then. Like, I knew of him. I'd seen him like about on the web and stuff through doing you know, like doing sort of like what do you call it, like MCing and stuff from like sets and stuff that have been put onto YouTube. But I remember he did a set on the mic and stuff like that, and then literally I went for a pee at the toilet, obviously quite you know, maybe 10 minutes or so after he'd been on the and now we kind of like rap duo, we make beats together, and we just, you know, we're like, you know, quite close friends. I've kept at his house, which is crazy when you think like who he's worked with, what he's done in the music industry. It's crazy just to think that I've sat in his front room, and it's crazy like other people I know in Hull, like my good friend Kenny Overdrive. It's just you know, like I've been to his house, we've had a mix. I slept there on New Year's Eve, and we had a New Year's dinner there on New Year's Day. And then I was just scrolling through Facebook the other day, and he was on a video call with DJ Monster, and DJ Monster's like produced tracks with Rob IYF, and it's just crazy, like, you know, like Kenny, my friend Kenny Overdrive, he just, you know, he just has message chats with people like Scott Brown, video calls with them, and stuff like that. It's just absolutely crazy, like, knowing, like, to think that you've actually stood and you've had a mix in someone's room and you've MC'd in someone's living room, and they actually have Scott Brown's phone number. Like, how crazy is that? Like, that somebody has Scott Brown's phone number and you actually go ahead and, you know, you've been in that person's front room, and, you know, with the connections they know, it's just absolutely bonkers. It's absolutely crazy. And you know, the same goes back to Freestyle. If any of you guys know the hardcore track from DJ Si and Top Vibes, Pac-Man, Freestyle is actually good friends with Top Vibes, and was actually round at Top Vibes at one point while Top Vibes and Psy were actually in the middle of creating that Pac-Man tune, and that Pac-Man tune has been played about at all the biggest raves. It's part of Quash Records, and it's just crazy to think that Freestyle was just sat round in like a studio room or something, or sat with Top Vibes as he was like writing that song, or as he was like in the process of making that song, like all them years ago. And that tune is actually, like, you know, it's signed to a label, and obviously DJ Si is like the scratch master. He's one of the biggest DJs in the hardcore scene, and it's just absolutely crazy. Like, you don't know who knows who, and it always baffles me. I'm always grateful for the people I know, and, you know, it's just crazy. Like, even like Rob IYF now, like, messages me on Facebook, or, you know, we have, you know, we tag each other in comments and we like each other's posts and stuff. And it's just crazy because Rob IYF is actually quite a well-known big DJ, has a label, produces tracks on the 24/7 hardcore label, which is just crazy. Like Al Storm and all them are on that same label. He's produced tracks with Al Storm. So it always baffles me, really baffles me, just to think the people you know, and who you know, like the people who you know, who they know, that's the most craziest thing. But anyway, going back to these gigs, I hope you guys know like what's to obviously come. I just wanted to refresh your memory, re-jog your mind as to like what I actually have coming up, because I'm not going anywhere. Like once this lockdown's lifted, like, you know, this hasn't changed me. I haven't given up the music. If anything, I've practiced and got better. So obviously, hopefully, when things do get lifted, whenever that may be, you know, hopefully when we can go back into our entertainment complexes, you know, I will be back on these posters, and I will be back smashing gigs. And like I say, don't forget, I am an Alliance resident, so there will always be something to come with Alliance as long as Alliance is still running as an event, basically. So obviously, like I say, I hope this just sort of refreshed your mind, what I'm still doing, what I probably won't be doing, and stuff like that. And just one last quick thing, we're now nearly 10 to 6, but at 6 p.m, me and Freestyle, featuring the Layman, Leeton, we have a track coming out. We produced a hardcore, it's called Donkcore. It's a mix of donk and hardcore. We produced a track which is entitled Now It's Time to Say Goodbye, and the track is about a guy who's messed up. He's made a few mistakes, and he basically makes one mistake that just kind of, you know, you've had your chances and that's it, you know, pack your bags and get out, it's time to say goodbye. And that's what the track's like entitled. So the track's kind of like, you know, so I play the guy in the track who basically is having to say goodbye, like, now it's time to say goodbye. And Freestyle's playing a guy who basically I've betrayed him in some way and he wants me out, basically. And the track sort of goes on about him like asking me to like pack a suitcase and get out, you know where the door is and stuff like that. And then I'm kind of like, oh, I've had enough, and like, I know I've done wrong and I've had enough, and now I'm having to face these consequences of having to leave. And then my friend Layman, he's kind of like one of them people that are just like, you did mess up, maybe you should just go, be better for everybody, you know. So Leeton doesn't have any sympathy for me in the track either, and just sort of agrees and says maybe it would be best for everybody if you go, but he's maybe also sort of thinking, go for a while, clear your head, and then come back and try and make amends. But he sort of just says it would be better for everybody if you just went, and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool track. I'm going to release it at 6 o'clock, SoundCloud, YouTube, etc. And then I've got another banger. Well, we've got another banger that is due to come out very soon as well, which is called Pijano Nightmare. And we're also working on another track which is a remix of Yes's Owner of a Lonely Heart remix, which is actually starting to take shape a bit. It's a little bit more tricky than we first thought, but remixing something can be quite hard. And I've got another banger in mind that I'm also going to start working on probably tonight and stuff like that. And this tune that's going to come out this Now It's Time to Say Goodbye is remixed with Martin Solvage's Hello tune, where in the music video the guys and the girls are playing tennis and stuff like that. I think it features Bob Sinclair as well. I think he's in the music video, I'm pretty certain, actually. And it's quite a cool little song anyway, and I sort of like took the piano melody from that song and featured it in this Now It's Time to Say Goodbye. So the actual joke in the track title is, the original is called Hello, this one's about saying goodbye. Instead of I just came to say hello, now it's time to say goodbye. That's the kind of joke in the title. And basically there's like another remix that I'm going to do that is also going to have a little bit of a joke in the title. Not gonna say too much, but it's like, again, it's going to be like another opposite of something. And I've had a cool idea. It's going to feature something from a TV advert, and it's going to feature a track from the 90s, and it's going to be like, again, it's going to be another like Donkcore remix, I would imagine. And it's just going to sound absolutely wicked, I would imagine. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for these tracks coming out. Obviously, now it's time to say goodbye. Will be released on SoundCloud, the Freestyle and Noble YouTube and stuff like that. So make sure you do keep your eyes peeled. But with that being said, I'm going to cut this live here, so please do like, please do comment, please do share, and we shall see you guys another time.